Showtime. Welcome to Financial Fridays. I'm your host, Glenn Cleland, aka the Intellectual Venture Capitalist. I've gone from investing in stocks to investing in students. Topic today, real money, real time, real performance. So why should you listen to me? I was on the institutional buy side as an equity portfolio manager at New Brunswick Investment Management Corp, the largest asset manager in the Atlantic region, the first Atlantic manager in the Atlantic region. I was also on the sell side. I was a wee little capital markets associate. And then I was the founding director of the Center for Financial Studies, where not only did I discover talent, but I developed the talent to make sure they were ready to get their foot in the door in the investment industry. I also went through this pain getting the CFA charter, so I know what that's all about. A little bit of a shameless plug, the UNB Student Investment Fund was the first in the Atlantic region starting in 1998. We were profiled in the National Post, also profiled in the Globe and Mail because we did a unique investment strategy called risk-controlled active management, or market neutral, which is profiled in the Globe and Mail. When I left in 2015, we were the number one 2017, we were the number one undergraduate program in Canada in terms of assets under management, and with the CFA curriculum embedded in the program, one of a kind in the world. Now we had 4 key performance indicators. For CFA pass rates, take a look at stairway to employability. We're going to talk a little bit about the university competitions over other videos. And the SIF graduates or careers, we talked about that in terms of Futures Atlantic Symposium, buy side versus sell side. Today, though, we're going to talk about the very basic portfolio performance. Now, the students were initially hired by New Brunswick Investment Management Corp. They had a Canadian balanced fund mandate, fancy name for they could invest in stocks and bonds within Canada. They had some limitations in their investment policy statement. And then in 2011, the UNB Endowment Fund gave us an international mandate. The difference was NBIMC, the students were totally investing. With the UNB Endowment Fund, they actually hired CMARC, and we were the research analyst for CMARC. Now, over the SIF timeline, December 31st year ends in 1994. That should be 1998. We had 1 million. 2008, we had 1.8 million. In 2016, with the new clients, we got it up to 9 million. SIF performance, first year we had 10.4%. After 5 years, 5.9%. Since inception, 7.1%. The long and the short of it, that's basically the methodology we use to do value added or to do the alpha portfolio. Now, the Rocking the Boat, the book is based on 2008 and how they did during the crash. Now, what you can see on the left-hand side is even though during the year the students are down 10.7%, they're actually ahead of the benchmark, 11.5%. So they actually outperformed by 78 basis points. So how did they do that great outperformance? Now, we introduced a thing called the law of active management. And we don't go into too much detail in the book, but it's basically the return. It's a function of the scope times the square root of breadth times the execution times the transfer quotient. Scope, just a fancy name. What do you invest in? When you take a look at the SIF, the only thing we can invest in is the TSE 300. Although we can go 10% outside, we can do the TSA 100. The government bonds, we can only go into government bonds. We can't go into corporate bonds. Square root of breadth, size of bets. All bets could only be a maximum 100 basis points. Otherwise, we rebalance it back. Execution of trades, especially on the bond side, we didn't want to get killed because of execution, and we were odd lot traders on the equity side. So NBIMC did all the trades. It was also good for their control mechanisms. Transfer quotient, fancy name for investable universe. We were not allowed to go into small caps or corporate bonds or derivatives. So we had very specific limitations in our investment policy statement. We had automatic rebalancing, which basically assumes mean reversion. So anytime an asset category, so equities or bonds, were out of by 1% compared to the desired level, we'd automatically rebalance them. Investment policy statement. The strategic asset allocation, which was the benchmark, we couldn't change. It was 50% equities, 45% fixed income, 5% cash. What the students were allowed to change, though, was the tactical asset allocation. They could go anywhere from 45% to 55% equities, 40 to 50% fixed income, 0 to 10% cash. And so that was one of our attribution or way we could add value. Now, 2008, when the story begins, they're actually underweight equities, where they're supposed to be 50% equities, they're 45% equities, overweight fixed income. Those particular groups, and there's 2 cohorts, felt equities are overvalued based on fundamentals, so their earnings, cash flow, book value, and the fixed income was a safe place. And so this is what led to the 78 basis points outperformance. Specifically, you can see the highlighted area, asset mix, basically added all the rates of return. The equity outperformance will offset the underperformance of fixed income. Their asset mix decision going underweight was key. Yet in 2009, they didn't feel compelled to follow the previous groups, and they decided to go overweight equities from 45% to 55%. It was a huge decision. They argued that the dividend yield was first time ever higher than the bond yields, and their cheaper valuations for the stocks on an earnings yield basis, fancy name for the inverse of EP compared to 10-year bonds. So they felt fixed income was expensive. So they overweight equities, underweight fixed income. And so that's what really the book is about, is that they had the courage to make that decision. Now, were they smart, or were they just crazy because they knew they wouldn't have to stick around in case they had a performance? Read the book and you'll find out how they did. So there we have it, Financial Fridays. Real money, real time, real performance. That's the long and the short of it. Remember, in this business, you have to work hard, play hard. So during good times, you work hard. Tough times, because it's cyclical nature of the business, you play hard, but always remember to stay in touch with everybody, especially your SIF network. Remember the card that I always carried in my wallet to always remind me what I was focused on doing, from Seymour Schulich, whose name is on various schools, now the chairman of Newmont Mines. 100 years from now, it won't matter what your bank account was, what kind of car you drove, or what kind of house you lived in, but you might make the difference in a younger person's life. That's the challenge I have to you, and that's it. Cheers.